folks, and welcome to this critique of the February workshop. Okay, we're looking at Andrea's workshop piece here, and my immediate thought was maybe there is not enough in this area here. You just pick up a pen for a moment and show you. So if you look at that sort of area of snow there, it's a bit barren, but I think that actually it works quite well the more I look at it, because I very much like this this line through here and the shape that we've formed between that and the I'm talking about this line here and this line here. That's a really nice movement, and it sort of works off the side of the house too. The light is excellent. There's a good edge to that shadow over there on the house, leaving us, you know, a different size object on this part of the house to the actual illuminated area. So nice. That's a good balance. Let me just get rid of these a moment. Yeah, so I've come around to thinking that that's good. The fact that this is quite a flat area, it works well because it's slightly warmed up and looks as though the sun is just slipping over the top of the woodland here and onto the snowy land. It ties in well. The texture in around the house here, around the little hut here is good. I'll just point out what I mean here. I mean, there's a heck of a lot of texture, and the texture's all in the right place, I feel. Yeah, woodland seems okay. You know, might be worth scratching when it was wet, when it was still damp. Might have been worth scratching out a couple of tree trunks there. It's just an afterthought, but it's worth considering perhaps when you're next painting your woodlands. That's definitely a consideration. Overall, that's a very, very good painting. I really like the sunny light, and I think it ticks all the boxes for that particular workshop, because if I remember rightly, it was about a cold but sunny winter's day. Yeah, well done, Andrea. Let's look at our next one here, which I think is from Deirdre. Okay, let me just pick up my my pencil here. Okay, it's quite busy. You know, there's a lot of texture, and I think it's sort of fine in this area. You know, in the foreground the texture works, but I wonder if it's more a case of there's too much texture in the background, in that woodland. If that woodland could be painted perhaps with fewer brush strokes, in fact painted with a much larger brush with fewer brush strokes, I think that would make a big difference. So I would take that more than anything else from this piece. I think we've sort of over textured everything. If we could cut off the texture point from, let me just grab this pencil. If we could cut off the texture point from about here back, so everything above that yellow line, all the woodland would be far flatter. There would be less evidence of small brush marks. That would make a huge difference to this painting. But I really like do like the foreground. Might that post need to be a little bit higher? That one about this high, and then this one, instead of being so regimentedly spaced, perhaps the third one could be a bit further back, about there, and a bit smaller. Just little things like that I think it is worth considering. But again, I do, you know, I think because there's a fair bit of texture in the sky, which is fine. It needed a break from the texture. We have texture in the sky, texture in the woodland, texture in all of the foreground. So somewhere you need to think about going in the opposite direction, i.e. the woodland, because it sits in the middle of the texture of the sky and the texture of the ground. The woodland would be lovely if it was a much flatter shape. But I do like, as I say, I do like the textures in there, and I like the components. The shed looks good. Our little trailer here, abandoned trailer, looks excellent. I think the light over the end of the building looks fantastic. Yes, good work, good work. Okay, and next we've got, I think it's Lindsey's. Lovely. This looks good. I like the falling snow effect in places, and I like, yeah, that's a good texture through the woodland. The additional single tree, that's quite interesting. Just probably worth noting how the let me just grab a pencil a second. How the single tree, bear with me, sorry. How the single tree here, the branches of it seem to stop on the line of the woodland behind. Can you see what I mean there? Instead of these branches coming up into the sky, it's funny how the brain talks us into doing that, or we do it subconsciously, I think, but it's quite noticeable. Unfortunately, can you see? Yeah, it just sort of comes down here and finishes right at the edge of the woodland, which is behind. Of course, this tree is closer. It's not part of the woodland. So it'd be good to push these limbs into the sky behind. I mean, that's the only thing really I can comment on this. Yeah, perhaps a post. Perhaps we could get one of these posts bigger here in the foreground. We've got two really nice little posts here. They look great. It's a funny thing. I always think that three things, when you're dealing with similar or same objects, and of course posts, and the three posts here, they are the same object. And I always think it's better to put three of things in or five of things in, an odd number rather than an even number. I can see that Lindsey did put in the slightly different height here, but it would have been nice just to push perhaps another one here in the foreground, much bigger, to give us a greater sense of scale, and a good distance away from the other two. Yeah, be careful of this. It looks a little bit like one of those little sort of garden swimming pools, and the reason why it looks like that is because of the roundness. If this is a canopy, which I think, if I remember rightly, on the day we decided this was a bit of canvas or something pulled down, it would probably be better if the line here was sort of from a corner, a hard angle there. Can't quite get the hard angle with this pencil, but something more like that. At the moment it's a bit too rounded, making it look like a sort of circular object. But crikey, this is a lovely looking painting. I like the little shack. It's excellent. Okay, let's just move on here a second. We've got Liz's painting. Let's have a look at this. Yeah. It's a great light in here, but I wonder if we needed a little bit more shadow here. It might just be that maybe there's too much light in here. If this area here was shadowed out, it would correspond with the shadow that goes up this side. Because you could argue, of course, that this shadow here has been thrown by a cloud. Yeah, it seems as though the right-hand side over here needs to be coupled with the left-hand side by some means. I think that's only issue I've got there. Let's get rid of my scribblings a minute. Yeah, and I take it away, and I feel as though I want to see that. I want to see that line that meets from right to left, left to right. But the house is great. I just love that abstracty shape on the end of the building there. Woodland looks fantastic, not overworked, just about the right, nice big blocked out sort of shapes, but with interest. We've lost a little bit of we've lost the little trailer because of the lack of slightly bolder lines around it, I think. So if we'd have made, sorry, with a darker line, let me just show you with a darker line here. If we'd have made a little bit more, particularly of any shadowy areas, a little bit more of this trailer, a little bit there, a little bit there. Yeah, I think that might have that would just bring it out a bit more. And the other thing, of course, I think is because without those lines, it might also need a bit of color in there. So a slightly different color. If we just give it a little bit of warmth in there, I can do that. Then it stands out further a little bit more. I'm just using a warm color just to show it off a little bit there. So, but it's very, very good. Yeah, really good. Love the texture in the shack again. I just think I like the posts are well positioned. You could always, I always try to make the nearest post probably, obviously, a bit bigger than the others, because that way, you know, maybe I would have made this one slightly smaller. That way, you get a less regimented, you know, breakup of space and size. If that was to come this way a bit, it would look something like that. I don't think you can overdo the sense of scale in paintings. You need to sort of almost exaggerate it. If we, for instance, if we were to put a post over this side, it would probably need to be about this big here. It does need, oops, lost the pencil. Did my pencil stay with me? Yeah, but it does need to be considerably bigger than, you know, these behind, and one behind there would be much smaller, and the effect you get from that is a real sense of scale, real sense of bringing things forward. Very good, I like it, lovely looking painting. And that brings us to the end, I think, of the 4 submitted paintings for February's workshop. So well done, folks, excellent.